everybody for coming. This is a workshop, so we're gonna be, I hope we can do a little bit of participation. Are you guys up for that? Are you up for a little bit of participation? I think we should do a little brainstorming too, because really we do have Rio+20 coming up, and who knows, maybe we can, feed into that a little bit. I thought, just to start off, we do a little video, and this is a clip from the recent talks in Durban. I was there as an advisor to Marty Tyndall, who's the moderator of the United Church, and we were there. Marty, so there were only two faith leaders from all of North America represented at the Durban talks. This was in contrast to most other parts of the world where there were lots of faith leaders, but from North America there were only two. One is the moderator of the United Church of Canada, Marty Tyndall, and one is the Executive Secretary of the Mennonite Church of Canada, whose name is Willard Metzger, and Marty persuaded him to go with her. So this was his first talk. Of course, Elizabeth was also there. This clip shows you, I don't know if who followed those Durban talks, just so pretty much everybody. So there was a moment, as these things begin in these talks, every country, every one of the 200 plus countries who's attending is given a little 3-minute chunk in front of the whole group, in front of the plenary, to sort of state their country's position. So usually this is heads of state who get up and say, this is our country's position on climate change, on the Kyoto Protocol, on the negotiations that are going to happen over this period. Canada, we didn't send our head of state, we sent Peter Kent, who is our environment minister. I began to think of him in my head as Peter Can't, not Peter Won't, but anyway, he gave his little talk right at the beginning of this, in the first couple of days of the plenary session when all the heads of state were there. And during his talk, a bunch of Canadian members of the youth delegation of Canada got up and turned their backs. Does everybody remember this piece? They got up and turned their backs like this on Peter Kent as he was speaking. And it happened that Elizabeth May was sitting right in front of them. I was sitting off to the side. Willard was right there, and Marty was on the other side. And so in this little clip we're going to show, this is Peter Kent doing his shtick, and it's a videotape that was taken at the event of the young people being ejected. So if we could just sort of use this to flavor our discussion, I thought that might be helpful. To keep telling the story. So Peter Kent is up there giving this talk and he talks at length about how Canadians are so incredibly proud of the oil sands and our development, and we're committed to, and we have very high environmental standards on the oil sands, and this is like the best thing that, next to sliced bread in the universe, these oil sands. And as he's doing this, and of course this is a very august forum. These people are, like, these are the heads of state listening to our representative of head of state. And as all of this is happening, the people you saw just at the very beginning there, get up and stand up and turn their backs on him, and their t-shirts read, "Turn your backs on Canada." And eventually, as the crowd, this is a huge plenary room, and eventually as the crowd realizes what's happening, we don't need to fiddle with this, I think. Anyway, eventually as this thing is happening, as the crowd realizes that this Canadian youth delegation has stood up, they all start turning, and you see this whole, in this clip you see it a little bit, you see the entire room. I'm sitting right at the back, so I see this whole thing unfold. You see all these people these heads of state turn and look at the kids, and all of a sudden, like a wave there's this huge wave of sound, and it's all of these very, very august members of heads of state from all over the world clapping the dissidents. Oh! And actually drowning out Peter Kent during this whole thing. It's absolutely fascinating. Let's just give it a pass, eh? Yeah, I think sorry, I guess we won't see the clip. Too bad. It was kind of cool just to see it all happen, because they were absolutely silent and dignified, and Peter Kent just kept talking, and it was the dissonance between what he was saying about how Canadians feel and what he expected the audience to be, the fact that he expected the audience to accept this stuff, which clearly they didn't. They knew that he was lying, right? And it was just that moment when this huge wave of sound filled this huge room, and we knew that that the gig was up, for us. So it was really fascinating to see all that unfold. So that was a little clip. So without wanting to prejudice you, although I suppose I have, what I'd really like to do is, and I hope you're up for a tiny bit of physical activity, I'd really love to see a little bit of, not a show of hands, but I wonder if the people who think that these international meetings are useful and effective, if you can stand on one side, and if people who think that they're not very useful can stand on the other side.